Today we're making beef shank spaghetti. This is a very robust, a very rich red sauce with a lot of beef flavor. It's excellent. I know you guys are gonna love it. Without further ado, let's get to cooking. Okay, so beef shank spaghetti. These are some of the ingredients you're gonna need. We have 2 beef shanks. Now, the higher up the shank, it's kind of called ossobuco. It's got a bigger marrow bone. These are technically soup bones, but the flavor is gonna be the same. We've seasoned these with a little bit of salt to get that salt to penetrate into the meat. I have some basil here and also some carrot. I don't know if you could see that. Now, the carrot is to add sweetness. I have them whole. I'm gonna fish them out later on. I'm trying not to use sugar in this sauce. We have some onion, a little bit of minced garlic, some red chili flake, and then some dried oregano. And then what you're gonna need is a good quality spaghetti, some Chardonnay. This is about a glass of wine. You can also use Cabernet, so you can use a red wine. I like to use a white wine. Salt and pepper, olive oil, and then this is 56 ounces of tomato sauce. Now, you're gonna wanna start this early because it's gonna take around 4 to 6 hours for this to cook. So this is probably a recipe you're gonna wanna do on like a Saturday or a Sunday. You know, throw some football on, let this cook for a few hours, and then you'll have a delicious sauce. So we're gonna start by getting our pot nice and hot, and then we're gonna sear off these shanks. So right here I have an 8-quart pot on a medium heat. We're gonna add a little bit of oil, get that going. And then what you wanna do, you wanna make sure your shanks are nice and dry so they get a good sear. So you're just gonna pat them with a little bit of paper towel. And remember, these are already salted, so we're not gonna season them. Now, once that oil is hot, we're gonna go ahead and add in our shanks. Press down slightly. You wanna make sure it makes good contact with the pan so it gets a good sear. And I'm just gonna dry the other side with a little bit of paper towel. So these shanks have been searing for about 3 minutes. Now, depending on how they're cut, sometimes the bone will get in the way and it'll prevent you from getting a good sear, but we're gonna check it out and see how we did. Go ahead and give them a flip here. We're just looking for fond, we're just looking for flavor. Not a bad little sear on there. So now I'm gonna season this side with a little bit of pepper, and we're gonna let this go for another 3 minutes. The thing I really like about this pasta, it kind of reminds me of my grandmother. See, the thing is with the Sunday sauce, when you have like the meatballs and the sausage, she always would put some kind of meat in there, either short ribs, neck bones, some ossobuco, or you know, shank, really what was ever on sale in the grocery store. You find that when you use this type of meat, it just makes your sauce super rich. You get that concentrated, very rich sauce. And you're gonna see when you try this pasta, it's gonna have that same flavor just with the chopped beef on top. In addition to, because there's a little bit of marrow bone, that marrow is gonna seep out into our sauce and it's gonna add additional flavor. So it's been about 3 minutes. We're just gonna go ahead and remove these. Set them over here. Let them hang out on our sheet tray. Now I'm gonna reduce the heat to medium-low. We're gonna add in our onion. Now this is about a half an onion. It depends on how big your onion is. We're gonna season that onion with a little bit of salt and black pepper. The salt will help to draw out some of that moisture in the onion, as well as release any fond that's left on the bottom of the pan from our beef shanks. So after about 2 minutes, once these onions start to turn translucent, we're gonna add the minced garlic. This is about 4 cloves of minced garlic, about a tablespoon of dried oregano, 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon of red chili flake, depending on how spicy you want it. Go ahead and give that a stir. And like I always say, the rule of thumb is 30 seconds or once you begin to smell the garlic, you want to add something wet on here. In this case, we're going to add the wine. It's about 1/4 cup of Chardonnay. Now, anytime you add wine, you got to let it reduce by half. You don't want your sauce to taste boozy. So it's smelling delicious already. As you can see, our wine is reduced by at least half. Now we're going to go ahead and add the sauce. Now, like I said before, this is 2 cans of 28-ounce tomato sauce. So it's around 56 ounces. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add in the fresh basil, stems and all. This is 2 carrots whole. It's gonna add some additional sweetness to cut the acidity of the tomatoes. You can also use sugar if you like. Now I know it's gonna need some more salt and pepper, so we're gonna season it with some salt and black pepper now. We can always adjust it later. So then lastly, we're just gonna nestle in our beef shanks right into the sauce. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring this to a gentle simmer. We're gonna cover with a lid and we're gonna let this go for 4 to 6 hours. So go do something else, go about your day, watch some football, relax, and you're gonna have a beautiful meal in about 4 to 6 hours. You're just gonna test this for tenderness. You want the beef to be fall off the bone. And then we'll shred it all up and we'll plate it up. Okay, so it's been 4 hours. I just want to mention a few things before we serve this up. So now you can either keep this on the stove and let it simmer, but you're gonna have to check it every so often. You're gonna want to stir it every 30 minutes or so. What I actually did is I brought it up to a simmer on the stove and I placed it into the oven, set to about 275, 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and I just let that go for 4 hours. It's much easier just to do it that way. Our sauce is super robust, right? We had some reduction there. The meat is falling off the bone. It's super tender. So I have some water on the stove. We're just gonna go ahead and boil our pasta and then we'll serve it up and then we're gonna taste it. So now we're gonna serve this right in the middle of the plate here. Add some more of our sauce right there, some of the pulled beef. Then we're gonna hit it with some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. A little bit of fresh parsley as garnish because I don't have any more basil. And there it is, guys. That's our beef shank spaghetti. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Wow. This pasta is rich, like it was cooking all day on a Sunday. Absolutely delicious. Our beef is nice and tender. The pasta is cooked till al dente. Those carrots did their job. It balanced the acidity of the tomatoes perfectly. You could taste the basil in here. You guys are definitely gonna wanna try this if you have some beef shanks that you don't know what to do with. You have the time, make sure you guys start early in the day. It's gonna take 4 to 6 hours to get that beef tender, but I promise you guys, it's gonna be well worth it. If you guys end up trying this, please leave me a comment. If you enjoyed this video or learned something, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.